Have you ever felt like someone at your job is playing against you, but you don't know how to prove it? Or worse, have you ever noticed that, for no apparent reason, certain people just don't want to see you grow up? You work hard, you do your best, but there is always someone who tries to devalue you, steal your credit, or somehow harm you behind the scenes. The truth is that the workplace can be a real battleground, and often attacks come from where you least expect it. You know that person who pretends to be your friend, but deep down wants to bring you down. She acts sneaky, compliments you in front of others, but behind your back twists your words, spreads gossip, or does everything to make you look incompetent. And when you realize it, it may be too late. Your reputation is already tarnished. Your boss already has a distorted view of you, and your credibility is shaken. And the worst, most of the time, these people do it without anyone noticing. They are manipulative, calculating, and know exactly how to play the game of sabotage. And if you don't know how to protect yourself, you can end up falling into their trap without even understanding what happened. But calm down, because today I'm going to show you how to turn this game around without having to play dirty. This happens all the time. If you've ever been through something like this, know that you're not alone. Many people face this type of sabotage on a daily basis, whether out of envy, competition, for promotion, or simply out of malice. The work environment can be toxic, and those who do not learn to protect themselves end up being swallowed up. But the good news is that there is a smart and strategic way to deal with it. And no, I'm not talking about taking revenge or fighting back in kind. You don't have to play this dirty game to win. On the contrary, the best way to neutralize these saboteurs is by using emotional intelligence, strategy, and techniques that will make them burn themselves. And I assure you, at the end of this video, you will know exactly how to shield yourself and still make your enemies self-sabotage. You'll learn to spot these attacks before it's too late, to become unattainable in the workplace, and to build a reputation so strong that no one else will be able to bring you down. Now, before showing you exactly how to turn this around, we need to understand something very important. How do you know if you are already being the target of sabotage? Because the worst kind of attack isn't the one you see coming. It's the one that happens in the shadows, where you don't even realize you're being manipulated until it's too late. And that's exactly what these saboteurs want, for you to fall into the trap without even realizing it. But I'll help you spot these signs before they really hurt you. Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, someone always takes credit for your work? You come up with an idea, dedicate yourself, and suddenly someone else emerges as the brilliant mind behind it all? This is a classic sign of professional sabotage. Envious and manipulative people love to appropriate the effort of others because, in fact, they do not have the capacity to create something relevant on their own. They know that the job market is competitive, and instead of growing on their own merit, they prefer to cut the easy way, stealing their shine. This is more common than it seems, and if you've been through it, you need to start taking action now. And there's more. Have you ever been left out of important meetings, strategic projects, or simply not sharing essential information for your performance? If you notice that certain colleagues or even your boss are excluding you from discussions that should involve you, be aware. This is one of the most subtle and effective methods to weaken your presence within the company. If you are not in the conversations, if you do not have access to decisions, you automatically lose relevance. And when you realize it, your name will have already been forgotten when choosing someone for a promotion or a new opportunity. Another warning sign is when you start to notice that people talk about you behind your back, and the information circulating about you is distorted. If out of nowhere they start looking at you differently, treating you more coldly or with a certain air of distrust, you can bet that someone is manipulating your image behind the scenes. And the worst? Often, you only find out when the situation is already out of control. This gossip can undermine your credibility, make your boss suspicious of your performance, and in the end, can even cost you your job. And you know what's most frustrating? Saboteurs do this so sneakily that when you try to defend yourself, it feels like you're just being paranoid. Now pay attention to this. Do you feel like things are going wrong for you at work in a strange way lately? Files disappear from your computer. Important emails don't reach you. Deadlines are changed without anyone telling you. If everything seems to be conspiring against you, it may not be just bad luck. Malicious people set traps to make you make mistakes so that you look incompetent. Sometimes they are small actions, someone who does not give you essential information, an urgent request that they forgot to warn you, a detail that was changed without telling you. And when you make a mistake, those who are watching only see your mistake. They don't see the dirty game that was played behind the scenes to sabotage you. If you've identified with 2 or more of these signs, it's time to take action immediately. And no, you don't have to confront anyone directly. This is the move they expect from you, because then they will paint you as a difficult, emotional person who doesn't know how to work in a team. But calm down, because I'm going to show you a much more strategic path. A path where you don't have to join their game, but you can turn the tables completely without anyone noticing that you were the one who called the shots. But before teaching you how to do this, we need to talk about something essential. What is the profile of these people who try to harm you? How do you spot a saboteur before he has a chance to really harm you? Because the sooner you recognize these behaviors, the faster you can protect yourself. And believe me, some of these people may be closer than you think. By identifying the signs of sabotage and recognizing who is playing against you, we get to what really matters. How to turn the tables without getting dirty, without getting into the energy of revenge, and without falling into their trap. Because if there's one thing these people want, it's to see you reacting impulsively, emotionally, uncontrollably. They need you to react, because then they can paint you as the problem, as someone difficult, unstable, or even paranoid. But when you act intelligently, without showing weakness, without showing that you are being affected, you break this cycle and cause the saboteur to lose power. And believe me, there is a strategic way to do this. The first thing you need to understand is that the saboteur feeds on your reaction. He wants to see you nervous. He wants to see you asking for explanations. He wants you to confront him in front of others, because like that, it reverses the game and makes it seem like you're the villain of the story. But there is a powerful technique to break this cycle and turn the situation in your favor: the mirror effect. And what does this mean? It means that instead of reacting with anger, you return exactly the energy they are giving you in a controlled and strategic way. If they ignore you, ignore them too. If they try to undermine your image, strengthen your presence without directly rebutting. If they do everything to destabilize you, stay strong, maintaining your posture and acting as if absolutely nothing is happening. This completely disarms the saboteur because he realizes that you are not giving power to his dirty game. And along with that comes the strategic silence technique. This is one of the biggest secrets to dealing with saboteurs at work. When they spread rumors about you, when they try to create false narratives to discredit you, the worst thing you can do is try to justify yourself all the time. Silence is a powerful weapon because it makes the saboteur keep spending energy trying to hit you, but without getting any reaction on your part. And then something interesting happens. People start to realize who is really obsessed with bringing you down. Because at the end of the day, the truth always comes out. If you keep delivering results, if you keep demonstrating competence, while the other person is spending time trying to destroy you, eventually it becomes evident who is really in control of the situation. The saboteur begins to wear himself out because he realizes that he is not able to affect you. But of course, you can't just defend yourself. You need to strengthen yourself, build an unshakable position within the company, create smart alliances to ensure that no one has enough power to bring you down. And this is where the strategy of building invisible allies comes in. While the saboteur is focused on trying to harm you, you are one step ahead, strengthening your network of contacts, creating good relationships with the right people, ensuring that your image is protected. Don't underestimate the power of the right allies, a boss who trusts your work, an influential colleague who admires your attitude. Even a satisfied customer can be the key to shielding your reputation. Because when someone tries to sabotage you and realizes that you already have a strong base of support, they give up. He understands that he has no room to undermine his credibility. And here's a point that few people talk about. Always be strategic with your interactions in the workplace. Never show all your cards. Never make it clear what you think or feel about others. Be someone who is difficult to read, someone who acts intelligently and discreetly. The saboteur always tries to attack those who show vulnerability, who show signs of insecurity. But when you convey confidence, when your stance is firm and unwavering, you become a threat to him. And you know what happens when a manipulator realizes he can't control you? He moves on to another victim. He understands that with you, the game doesn't work. Now I want to know from you, have you ever applied any of these strategies in your work? Comment here which one you think can help you the most. Or if you've been through a situation like this and managed to turn the tables on it, share it in the comments. This can help others who are going through the same thing. And in the next section, I'll teach you an even more advanced step, how to make your enemy burn on his own without you having to do anything but observe and act at the right time. This is what really separates those who suffer sabotage from those who dominate the professional environment. So stay with me, because now comes the most powerful part of this game. Now that you know how to shield yourself and strengthen your position in the workplace, the most strategic moment of this journey has arrived. How to make your enemy burn alone without you having to do absolutely anything but observe and act at the right time. Because the truth is that saboteurs have a predictable pattern. They operate in the shadows, play dirty, try to destabilize you. But there is a detail that almost no one notices. The more space you give a saboteur to act, the more chances he has of destroying himself. This happens because in an attempt to harm you, he will end up exaggerating, making mistakes, and without realizing it, revealing to everyone that he is the real problem. But for this to work, you need patience, intelligence, and most of all coolness. You cannot act impulsively. You need to learn to manipulate their own manipulation. The first strategy to make this work is called wait for the rope to tighten. What does that mean? That you can't react to the first blow. Saboteurs tend to act in stages, and at first they are more subtle, testing the limits to see how far they can go without arousing suspicion. If you react early on, you may end up looking paranoid, and even worse, you may give your enemy a chance to back down and remake their plans. But if you wait, if you pretend you're not seeing, he'll continue, and the more he advances, the more he exposes himself. It is a natural effect. Those who play dirty think they can go on forever without consequences. But the truth is, eventually, these people always cross the line. And when that happens, you don't have to do anything but let your own company, your own work environment, see who's really causing problems. And do you know the best way to speed up this process? Apply the give them the stage and let them fall on their own technique. This is one of the most powerful tactics you can use. If someone is trying to distort facts about you, spread gossip, manipulate information instead of confronting them directly, what you need to do is give them even more space to speak. Encourage them to share their versions of the stories. Ask innocently about what they heard. Ask them to explain their own words better in front of other people. The more they talk, the more loopholes they leave. Because a liar needs to maintain absolute control over what he says. But when you put pressure on them indirectly, without it seeming confrontational, they lose that control. They begin to contradict each other. They get nervous. And do you know what happens next? The people around them themselves begin to realize that something is wrong. Your boss begins to question. Your colleagues begin to notice the incongruities. You didn't have to raise your voice. You didn't have to fight. You didn't have to wear yourself out. He only used the enemy's own mouth against himself. But perhaps the most underrated weapon you can use against a saboteur is something no one expects: strategic kindness. That's right. The third technique that works foolproofly is called disarm with gentleness. Saboteurs expect you to react aggressively, to lose your temper, to start behaving exactly as they want so they can paint you as unstable. But when you respond to everything, and calmly, politely, even sympathetically, it completely baffles them. They lose control because they realize they can't control you. Have you ever seen what happens when someone tries to tease another person and that person just ignores it and keeps smiling? The provocateur becomes more and more irritated, more anxious, more desperate to get a reaction. And that's exactly what you need to do with your enemy. Keep being impeccable in your work. Keep interacting normally with everyone. Keep greeting this person as if absolutely nothing was happening. This will irritate her to the point of making even more serious mistakes. Anger will make you make a mistake, and a mistake will make you fall. And here's the most important detail. These tactics work because they keep you in a position of absolute power. You're not fighting back. You're not attacking. You're just letting the truth reveal itself. And that's the secret of those who survive and thrive in toxic environments. People who win this game are not the ones who spend energy fighting back or trying to prove something. They are those who understand that, in the end, the truth always finds a way to appear. But for that, you need to be in control. You need to hold back the impulse of wanting to expose everything immediately. You need to trust the process. You need to be more strategic than who is attacking you. And now I want to know, have you applied any of these strategies in your work? Have you ever seen a saboteur? Think alone. Right here in the comments which of these tactics you think is most powerful. I want to know if you've experienced something similar, or if you're going through it now. And if you want to understand how to protect yourself forever from toxic environments, prepare for sabotage situations before they even happen. Stay with me, because the next part of the video will be essential. I'm going to show you how to build a reputation so armored, so solid, that no one will ever be able to bring you down again. Because those who know how to play this game are never caught by surprise again. If you've come this far, now you know how to identify when someone is playing against you. You already know the best strategies to turn the tables without getting dirty. And most importantly, you've already understood that the best way to win this type of conflict is not by reacting with emotion, but with intelligence. But the most important step is still missing: how to protect yourself forever and ensure that no one else has the power to bring you down. Because at the end of the day, your goal is not just to defend yourself when sabotage happens, but to create such a strong armor that no one will ever try to harm you again. And for that, you need a strategy that goes beyond the moment of crisis. You need to build a solid position, create an unwavering reputation, and establish a presence so strong that any attempt to target you simply won't work. The first thing you need to understand is that self-assured people are not easy targets. If you follow the work environment carefully, you may have noticed that saboteurs always choose strategic victims. They don't attack just anyone. They look for people who, in some way, show insecurity, who do not yet have a solid support network, or who seem more vulnerable to manipulation. This means that your best defense is not to react to the attack, but to become someone so unattainable that no one even tries to attack you. And the best way to do this is by building quiet authority. Silent authority is one that does not need to be imposed because it is simply perceived. They are those people at work who, when they speak, everyone listens. Not because they shout, not because they demand respect, but because they have demonstrated competence, professionalism, and security so many times that their word has weight. This type of presence is built with consistency. If you want no one to have power over your image, you need to master 3 things: impeccable deliveries, unwavering posture, and sharp emotional intelligence. Flawless deliveries mean that your work speaks for you first and foremost. There's no point in trying to build respect if you don't deliver results. This doesn't mean that you have to be perfect, but it does mean that you are someone trustworthy. Be that person who meets deadlines, who delivers what he promises, who has such a high standard of quality that when someone tries to sabotage you, credibility will be on your side. If you always deliver good work, if you are recognized for it, no one will believe gossip or attempts at demoralization. Because people believe what they've seen with their own eyes, and if they've seen that you're excellent, it's much harder for someone to belittle you. But it is not enough just to work well. Protecting yourself forever also means having an unwavering posture. This means that no matter what happens around you, you can never show despair, weakness, or need for validation. Saboteurs smell insecurity. They test your reactions, throw teases, spread rumors to see if you lose control. And here's the secret: whoever doesn't get shaken disarms any attack. If someone comes up with a gossip about you, if someone tries to exclude you, if someone makes up a lie trying to harm you, the worst thing you can do is show that you are desperate to defend yourself. Because if you defend yourself too much, if you explain yourself too much, it gives the impression that you have something to hide. Now, if you simply maintain your posture, continue doing your job, and act as if absolutely nothing can hit you, the saboteur begins to lose strength. And of course, none of this works without emotional intelligence. You need to learn how to read people, how to interpret situations before they become a problem, how to identify patterns of behavior that indicate that someone may be plotting something against you. The vast majority of sabotage does not happen overnight. They start with small gestures, small attempts to undermine your credibility. Those who know how to observe these signs can act before the problem becomes big. The best way to protect yourself is to be someone who understands the game before the game happens. This means that instead of just reacting to situations, you anticipate the moves. You notice when someone is trying to isolate you, when someone is creating a false narrative about you, when someone is trying to harm you. And when you realize this, you can act before the situation gets out of your control. And you know what happens when you combine all of this? You become unattainable. You build a reputation so strong that even if someone tries to sabotage you, the impact will be practically nil. Because the people around you already know who you are. They already trust you. They already know your work. And believe me, when you get to that level, the saboteurs give up. They understand that you're not an easy target, that attacking you isn't worth it, that their strategies won't work. Now, I want to know from you, have you ever been in a situation where you felt that someone wanted to bring you down? How did you deal with this? Tell me in the comments. I want to see how you see this type of game in the workplace. And if you've made it this far, it means that you really want to become someone strong, armored, someone who will never be caught off guard in this kind of situation again. So, just like this video, because it helps me to continue bringing content that really makes a difference in your career. And before leaving, subscribe to the channel. If you've watched this far, I'm sure this content helped you in some way. So activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos, because here I always bring strategies for you to strengthen and protect yourself in the workplace. And now I want you to comment down here, I am unattainable, because that's the mindset you need to develop going forward. And if you want to continue learning how to strengthen yourself even more in the professional environment, watch the next video that is appearing on the screen now. There, I'll teach you when it's the right time to quit a toxic job. Click now, and let's strengthen your career together.